Welcome to Glasgow 2024 Presents. Today we are meeting the author. We are meeting Nicole Givens Kurtz. Nicole is an award-winning author of, amongst other series, the Cybil books, also an editor of anthologies such as the Slay anthology, and a publisher and an educator. Nicole, welcome.
Hey everyone. Thanks, Robin, for having me.
Yeah, no, it's a great pleasure. So we have our Meet the Author questions, of which there are 10 terribly deep and searching questions. You are allowed a pass, which you might feel you need at some point. You might feel you don't need it at all. You don't have to
That's
use
good to know.
There are other ways to evade answering the questions, as I'm sure if you wish, but I really don't think there's anything particularly that needs to be avoided. So why don't we just start with number one, which is, where are you based?
I'm based in South Carolina in the United States.
Cool. And have you been there a long time, or?
No, I'm originally from Tennessee, which is also another state in the US, another southern state. But I got married about 5 years ago, and my husband lived here. He's from South Carolina, so that's where I came.
Okay.
I followed love.
Well, yes, I know people who have done that. Yes. Very, very good. Okay. Now then, question two, we're talking about a Glasgow Worldcon, of course. So what is your experience or your impression of Scotland?
My husband, who I mentioned earlier, is of Scottish heritage. So my impression of Scotland is that it's very multicultural, which is surprising, but also that it has a long history of independence, an independent spirit, and one that is inclusive as well as beautiful, right? So there are metropolitan areas, right? And there are also gorgeous, sweeping, open countryside areas as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, that's a very, I'm very pleased to hear that. That's a good one. Excellent. So number three, we're moving into the area of our common interest, science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Give us an elevator pitch, and you have many books to choose from. So give us an elevator pitch for one of your books.
Okay, for one of them.
Anyone you like. Could be the last
Okay.
one, could be the next one, could be whatever you.
So it's Neo Tokyo meets Law and Order. It's the pitch for Glitches and Stitches.
Nice, nice. And I'm very interested. I've got a number of your books on my Goodreads list, I believe, and those ones really the this kind of backhanded compliment, I think, of saying how good the covers are.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry, the covers just pop. They're really
They do.
wow, and I think they have attracted a lot of readers because they who will then be delighted with the contents. But I'm sure. But yeah, those covers are quite something, and I'm definitely
I've been very blessed to have really awesome cover artists that I work with, um, who are just phenomenal people in and of themselves, but also very talented artists.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, excellent. Question four. Now, this is one of the difficult ones. What is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Butter pecan.
No hesitation.
Not at all.
I like
Because
it.
my I just recently bought, like, my husband went out and he went out for the sole purpose of getting me this giant half-gallon size pint of butter, half-gallon butter pecan. Um, it was one of those weeks, and I was like, I must have ice cream. And so that's my favorite one. I don't deviate from that. I don't like chocolate. So that kind of rules out like over 2/3 of the ice cream choices
Yeah,
because I
really,
don't eat
really,
chocolate.
yeah.
And so, but butter pecan, old fashioned butter pecan.
Excellent, excellent.
Hmm
Oh, some people have taken several seconds to answer that question, so
Ooh,
no, I admire your
my
decisiveness
commitment.
to ice cream. Excellent. Okay, so here's another. I think Goodreads said you had. I was scanning it slightly before coming on that you, in its opinion, you have 64 distinct works. So this might be a tricky question, or it might not. But number 5, who is your main character? Tell us
Sybil Lewis.
about them. Yeah. So, and
Yeah.
what would you? How would you describe Cybil to us?
Sybil is my version of Spencer from Robert B. Parker's Spencer for Hire. She's a very tough, independent, like PI. Very has her own moral compass in many ways, like Spencer does. Has moves through the world with that compass, and if it doesn't match someone else's idea or morals, she doesn't care. Because she lives in the district, which is and you know about cyberpunk, is very much high tech, low life. Um, in the city that she lives in, there isn't a lot of room for compassion or nurturing types of behavior, and so she's very rough exterior, but inside that compass keeps her grounded, and it also helps her move about a city that seems sometimes not to have any morals at all. And so that's what I love about her. She's very much Sybil all the time. There's not a lot of pretense in who she is. Like the Sybil you see is the Sybil you get.
Okay.
And in a world where avatars and modified reality
Mm-hmm.
are the norm, it's really interesting to have a character who like kind of rejects all that and is kind of grounded in who she is.
Excellent. That's a very compelling portrait for anyone who doesn't know. That's good. So, question number 6 is another one of these testing ones. Star Trek or Star Wars?
Always Trek.
Again. Oh my God.
and
I've had people,
I'll
oh, I don't know. Well, this, and then
no.
boom, straight.
No, we are a house divided. We had a Star Trek and Star Wars themed wedding at a Renaissance festival. So yeah, we got married at the Ren. But our cake had like a Luke and Leia, a Star Wars topper. But our cupcakes were, very much Star Trek insignias on one side and Star Wars lightsabers on the other side. And you had to pick, right? Because we, like I
Mm-hmm.
said, we are very much a house divided. So
Had this, you've done this poll already at your wedding by the cupcakes. That's fabulous.
yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, we got married at the Renaissance Festival, so it was, the Queen came with her court, and there were trumpets, and the joust was held in our honor and whatnot. But we kind of treated our guests like it was a science fiction
Uh-huh,
convention, so they all had
uh-huh.
badges, and it was like Wedding Con 2019, and right, and so they had to pick whether they were, Star Wars or Star Trek fans. It was a lot.
That's fantastic. That sounds absolutely wonderful.
It was fun.
Great stuff. Okay, then. Now, I know the answer to this question, but the viewers don't. So, question 7. Have you attended Worldcon before? And if so, which one or ones?
Yes, so I have been to Worldcon in Dublin, where I met you.
Indeed. That was your first Worldcon.
That was my first and only Worldcon
If
so
only
far,
as
yes.
it was mine. Yeah. Yes. And a supplemental question, and any plans to come to Glasgow in 2024?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yes. Oh, yes.
excellent,
We'll be
excellent,
there. Yes.
fantastic. That's great. I look forward to seeing you in person again. That will
Oh,
be
yeah, that'll be
fun.
fun. I'm absolutely coming to Glasgow. Yes.
Superb. Well, that brings us on to question 8, which again is a pretty broad question. What inspires you to write?
Oh, wow. Injustice. Um, I have to, right? So, like, even if it's just little snapshots of things, I find inspiration in life, actually. I wrote the whole opening scene for Cozen because I saw a discarded shoe and shattered glass on a highway, like from a car accident on the
Hmm.
way to Phoenix. And from that mental snapshot of passing by, the beginning of a whole novel um, started. And so I find inspiration in many things, song lyrics, like I mentioned, social justice issues, um, my garden.
Excellent.
So,
Excellent.
but I find inspiration in a lot of things. But most importantly, I have to have something to say about those things. Like I write often, but I don't always publish them.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of the different. I always write, but what do I choose to publish? I feel like whatever I decide I want to publish or pursue publication for has to say something significant. Um, and has to leave some emotional impact,
Hmm.
um, and linger after it's over. And if I don't feel like it does that, then I don't. It doesn't get published. Or I don't. It stays in its folder, and that's where it lives in the trunk. Um, right. So I find inspiration in life and living, but what I pursue in terms of what should be published or what I would like to have readers consume is things that have something to say.
Hmm. No better answer than that, I don't think. Thank, thank you. No, no, for sure. That really is very interesting. I'm sure for a lot of obviously a lot of writers watch these. I'm sure as well as fans, and that'll resonate with them, with everyone, I'm sure. Question 9: favorite band or music at the moment, or whenever, however you choose to approach that
So
question.
historically, it's the Police, right? Slash Sting. Okay, like I have
Right.
a giant posters of
Okay.
them. Like I still do, right? I have
Hmm.
every single like album, CD they ever released, even the ones they released for me overseas. Huge fan. But in the last probably 2 years, I've been a huge K-pop fan. So I've been like, I'm a big like Tomorrow by Together fan. I'm a big BTS fan. And so I've been listening to a lot of K-pop in the last, like I said, last 2 or 3 years. Um, but overall, like my adult life and my child, like staying up at night watching the Police on night tracks, I love them. And I've seen Sting in concert a couple of times now. So
Cool.
I'm a big Sting fan overall, but
Hmm.
recently K-pop.
Okay. Okay. That's very interesting. Um, my daughter's middle name is Roxanne,
Oh,
for uh, obvious reasons. And
yes.
I'm probably not as big a Police fan as you, like, specifically, but there are numerous of their songs that I really do love to listen to. So yes, yes,
Oh,
K-pop.
yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know. I'm going to
yeah.
have to. I'm aware of it, but I couldn't whistle any K-pop numbers. But I maybe need to just expand my horizons a wee bit and
It's
see
interesting because I
what's
didn't
going on there.
think that I would like them, right? Because
Right.
I
Yeah.
remember it was like 2018. I was like, why do I keep seeing this group, this K-pop group where they're not even speaking English? Like I was really ignorant and naive about what was happening.
Uh,
So at some point, I think they were one of their songs, the English song, was part of a Samsung commercial. And
okay.
so every time that commercial came on,
Mhm.
their song played, and I was like, really? And so I went and listened to it, and I was like, well, that's catchy. And then I went and listened to other because the next, on YouTube it'll have like
Uh,
other options. So I began to listen to other songs, and because you have captioning, you can read what the lyrics say. And I'm like, wait a
mhm.
minute, these men are talking about stuff, and it's not fluffy pop stuff.
Uh-huh.
And
Right.
so
Right.
as I kept going through their catalog, I found their whole Love Yourself trilogy and their whole Map of the Soul trilogy, which is based off of Carl Jung's Map of the Soul, and
Oh,
how you did, and then it's about finding your shadow and how you're in the ego, and it was very deep,
yeah.
intense work
Mm-hmm.
through music.
Mm-hmm.
and then of course RM, who's the leader of BTS, has a 148 IQ, and so he reads a lot. He's very passionate about improving himself as a human being. And so and by doing that, of course, enriching other people in their path towards being a good person
Mm-hmm.
and reconciling um the insecurities you have within yourself. So he had a lot of insecurities, and he was like, here's what I've done, here's the work I've done, and I'm sharing that with you through music, right? But
Cool.
it's kind of a similar thing what authors do with their work. We have things that we work through text or through story, and we share that with readers who are also reading that protagonist go through those same things and work those things out through text. And
Mm-hmm.
so they do that, and Sting does it too through lyrics. And so I like lyrics. And so if you are a good lyricist and you're actually talking about something meaningful, not about who you got down with last night and partying, but about real, real mature topics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all in, and
Okay.
BTS does that, and they've done that since. I know that people look at their current work and they go, "Oh, it's so poppy," but in Butter and Dynamite are poppy because they were meant to kind of help people be up
Right.
in light of the unpleasantness.
Mm-hmm.
But their work previous to that is a deep study of, like I said, of Carl Jung's work, and a deep study of, like, one of their songs is based on Damien, the
Yeah.
novel. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of really mature work that they don't get credit for because they're simply labeled
Sure.
as a K-pop boy band.
Exception. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but there's actual, so I don't like all K-pop. I mean, you have to be saying
Right.
something.
Of course.
And they do. And so that's kind of the reason why I kind of fell down that rabbit hole of
Yeah.
so
Very,
if you
very
like lyrics
interesting.
and you
Very
like
interesting.
lyrics
Yeah,
that
I
say
do.
things,
Definitely. Yeah.
you should try BTS.
Okay. Good tip. You heard it
Getting
here.
down off my soapbox now, my my evangelizing K-pop.
Hey, no worries, no worries. It's all about learning about you and what makes you tick. So that's great stuff. Okay, so question 10, the final question. Um,
Dun, dun,
and
dun.
again, direct it as you would like. But what are you writing now or next?
Oh, I'm currently editing the fourth Sybil Lewis book, actually, which is called Scorched. And so I'm working right now. It's finished. I'm
Uh-huh.
just working through and, revising, tightening up sentence structure, tightening up text, removing all the that's and the was, and or any gaps in, like, plot, because it's a mystery. Most all of Sybil Lewis works are they're mystery. She's a PI, and so making sure that the red herrings work and making sure that the character development is still there, and that doesn't get lost in her chasing leads and shooting people with her gun. So I'm working through that's what I'm working on now. But I do have a collection of novellas from the district called
Mhm.
Death Violations that'll be out in July. And this volume, it's all three novellas in one volume, but it
Right,
also includes original artwork from Daniel Hugo and Sean Hill. And so there'll be artwork in that volume that
right.
you wouldn't otherwise get. So
Mhm.
I'm really excited about that because
That
those
sounds
stories
nice.
take place in the same universe as
Yeah.
Sybil, actually in the same city. Um, and so I'm excited to see that all those volumes together. And I'm also very thrilled to look at the artwork. I haven't seen it yet. I've seen
Ah,
drafts of it, so I'm waiting to get the finals, but very, very excited for that.
that sounds very, very cool. And just to clarify, so that the Sybil doesn't appear in those this kind of side stories and or parallel stories or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Excellent.
Sybil is a PI, and so the death violations are basically murder cases that are solved by the regulators, detectives. And so the protagonists of this particular set of novellas in this trilogy are Fawn and Briscoe. And I thought it was interesting to look at the district and how they process crime
Mhm.
from a law and order standpoint
Yeah, from inside,
versus
as
what you
it were.
get from a
Yeah,
PI standpoint. And
yeah,
so that's
yeah.
what the Death Violation trilogy is. It's
Cool.
Fawn and Briscoe
Mm.
working it from the regulator viewpoint.
No, I like that idea of having a completely kind of almost opposite but different perspective.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
That's a neat idea. That's a neat idea.
Thank you.
Excellent. So we shall look forward to that. Um, And yeah, those are our 10 questions. So
Wow, it's over already. Wow.
yeah. Nicole, it was a great pleasure to speak to you. Thanks for sharing some time with us today, and look forward to seeing you in Glasgow next year.
Yeah, it's always great to see you. Thanks, Robin.
No worries. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for watching this interview. Find more Meet the Author interviews on our YouTube channel, along with Indie Author Reading Library performances and recordings of previous panels. Hit subscribe to get notifications for every new video. Find us at glasgow2024.org and as Glasgow in 2024 on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Check out our cool merch on redbubble.com/people/Glasgow2024/shop. And consider joining by emailing volunteers at glasgow2024